In 2023, my family and I took a long-anticipated trip to Ghana. Let me show you how it went. Ghana is a West African country located on the Gulf of Guinea. It's the birthplace of my parents and homeland of my ancestors. Known as the Gateway to Africa, it's a nation rich in cultural heritage and natural beauty, and it has emerged as a symbol of progress and stability. Coming here was our most anticipated event of the year and probably my most anticipated trip of my lifetime up to this point. Going at the end of the year, we had some great occasions to celebrate, and at 20 years old, I was going to experience the country for the very first time. My name is Baffour Adusei, and this is the Ghana Vlog. This is actually not my first time in Ghana. The last time I was here was about 18 years ago. I was only about 18 months when I came with my family then. So this is really like my first time here where I can actually see and experience the country for what it is, which is really exciting. It's also really exciting to get to see a lot of my family. I'm staying at my aunt's house. My other aunt and uncle are just down the street, and we'll be visiting a lot of the rest of our family. We just had a wedding this last weekend, and I got to see a lot of the family on my dad's side. And it's great to be able to connect with them after not seeing them in person for basically my entire life. So, wedding 1. This was our first event of the entire trip. It happened on the day right after we landed in Accra. A majority of my dad's family was able to make it to the ceremony and reception. It might surprise you to see so many people wearing white, but that was actually the dress code for guests. White with a touch of gold. This allowed the groom and bride to stand out by wearing a special cloth instead of a suit and white dress. We all met again the next day at church to give thanks for a successful wedding, and I was thankful to get to see a bulk of my family this soon in the trip. About half of my family stays here in Ghana and the other half is in the States, so it's great to be able to see those of them who are here. We also have a lot to do though. My parents have had a couple projects that they're working on here in Ghana, and we're gonna go check some of them out. One of them we're gonna check out today is a new house that our family is building. So yeah. So we've just made it to the new house. One interesting thing is that we're at a pretty high elevation, which makes the view of this place very good, and I really like these views. We were staying a bit down south near the coast, but we've gone a bit more inland. This has been a project for my parents for a long time, so it's great to see that it's basically done right now. We'll be back here a lot. We were visiting and being hosted by different family members just about every day, and we eventually had a housewarming here where we could bring them all together and host them. For the rest of the first week, we went around shopping quite a bit, from shopping for the house to just browsing around. This here is one of the major malls in Accra that we visited. And I also wanted to mention this local shop that we frequented called JVM24. They do custom orders for kaftans, and we all went to the shop for some African wear. Really solid designs and solid business. Today is Friday, we're about a week into our trip, and our cousin just took us down to the coast, somewhere in Accra. We're at Best West Hotel, but we're just having a nice little beach dinner. I'm here with my cousin and my brothers. We're just here to grab some food. It's a little bit colder here, the weather's a bit nicer, and yeah, we're just getting to enjoy. 1 week in, and a little hiccup, we had a short power outage, but everything's good now. Next week is Christmas, and I think we're gonna go to Kumasi next week as well. So we're about wrapping up our time in Accra. And I'm glad we're able to kind of wrap up this week with a nice day by the beach. We ate very well, not just at this spot, but for the entire time we were here. Seriously, not a single bad meal. Today is Saturday. We are in Ada East, which is a 2-hour drive to get here from Accra, going eastwards towards Togo. Ada Aqua Safari Park right now. It's like this little beach resort. They have this lake over here for canoeing and kayaking. We got there too late to go on the water, but we still got to enjoy.
Say, me I know life wahala, chop life, catch cruise, whatever, my nature, moku, yadaba, on my main lead, Sakaba, see, me I know life wahala, holidays, I want reach Panama, if you dey hate, waka go, wagada, on my main lead, Sakaba, say, Sakaba, say, okay, be Sakaba, oh yeah, say, Sakaba,
Religion is a huge aspect of life for many Africans, so for us, Christmas Day meant church. There are plenty of different churches around, and we even got to go to a few different ones, but one thing I can say about this one here was that there was a level of energy and hospitality that I really appreciated. I was very comfortable. This is not any different to how I spend a normal Christmas in America, but it is to a slightly larger scale.
Say we made it. We made it to the end of this year.
Similarly, we, along with many other Africans, have a crossover service on New Year's Eve to, well, cross over into the new year. Now, this was to a much bigger scale than I am normally used to. The same church hosted this, but they had to put it outdoors because there easily would have been over 1,000 people. It's a blessing to see a new year, and we ushered in 2024 in style. It's a little bit after 5:30 right now. The plan for today and the next few days is to travel to Kumasi, which is in the Ashanti region. Instead of states, Ghana is separated into regions. We have been staying in Tema, which is in Greater Accra, and we are now going to the Ashanti region, which is a bit up north. It's also the home of my family. It's where my parents and their families both originate from. I'll get to see some of my grandparents' hometowns and some of my grandparents' homes where they lived. So we will go to Kumasi as well as some other towns and villages in the Ashanti region. And I'm hoping also to go to Manhyia, which is a little district that is home to the king of the Ashantis. So more on that later. So right now we're in the Ashanti region. The closest major city is Kumasi, which is the capital of Ashanti land. We're in Bonkrong right now, which is a town that my grandparents stayed at on my dad's side. We actually visited the church that my grandparents used to worship at, and the cemetery is right there. We just finished visiting Grandpa. So it's been a real blessing to be able to come to Ghana to get to see so much of my family, ultimately now my grandparents. I'm staying at my grandpa's house on my mom's side at the time being, so just been a lot. This right here is the old church, the mission house. So about 200 years ago, when the Swiss first came, Presbyterians, this is one of the places that they set up. So there's quite a bit of history here. This house right here was my grandfather's. He was a chief of this town, Bonkrong. So this house was the seat of the chieftaincy. It's over 100 years old, and it's been maintained pretty well, I have to say. We arrived at our final stop of our Kumasi trip, and we are in the Manhyia district. And this place is special because this area is the seat to the king of the Ashanti people, the Asante Hene. A lot of royal cultural significance in this place. So back there is Manhyia Palace. Now Manhyia Palace Museum, the old residence of the king of the Ashanti people, which we call the Asante Hene, and the queen, which we call the Asante Hima, Queen Mother of the Ashanti people. We got to see the history of all the previous Asante kings and queen mothers. So what they had said was that the kingdom belongs to the Queen Mother, but the Asante Hene, or the king, is the strength of the kingdom. Basically, it's a matrilineal system, so royalty is decided from the woman's line in the family. We just ran out of a gift shop, and we got this little bracelet. It says Kweku, So with any culture, a big important part is always going to be language. In Ghana, they speak English, but another language is the Akan language, which the Ashanti people speak. So our names come from the days we were born, and here we have Kweku, which is my name. It means that I was born on a Wednesday. So they have a name, masculine and a feminine name for whatever day you were born, and that's just one of the things that we find in our culture here. So we're back from our Kumasi trip, and luckily I did not come back empty-handed. I'd already shown that bracelet I got earlier. This bracelet that says my day-born name, Kweku. My aunt had gotten it for me, so thank you for that. And then apart from that, my mom and her sister were able to retrieve something very special for me. Take this out. So here is my kente cloth. This cloth is a very special part of Ashanti culture. It is worn at ceremonies and special occasions. But really important for me, it identifies you not only as a Ghanaian, but as an Ashanti. So I'm very glad that I was able to get this. It was a perfect way to kind of end up our cultural trip to Kumasi, where our family's from. So I'll be wearing that this Sunday, but today is the wedding. The traditional wedding for my cousin, which is very exciting. And for that, I'm gonna be wearing this kaftan I have here. So all of my brothers and I will all be wearing white kaftans. Most of my cousins as well, I expect. Some of our older family members will be wearing kente cloth. This second wedding was one of our final events of the trip. In the first wedding we went to, my cousin from my dad's side was the groom. In this one, my cousin from my mom's side was the bride. It was a traditional Ghanaian wedding. From the performances to the entrances to the outfits, everything was reflective of traditional wedding customs here as opposed to the average wedding in America. After the ceremony, we had the reception just down the street. One thing about Ghanaian weddings is that they can span multiple days and likewise multiple outfits, but they are always guaranteed to bring the whole family together.
This thing on you, yeah, make I tell you some story. Girl, you're the one for me. I did outside, day and night, anytime when you want me. Make I tell you some story.
We're in Aburi Gardens right now, and it is in the eastern region. If you're keeping track, we've been in Greater Accra, the Ashanti region, and now the eastern region. Aburi was a great place to cool down. I wish we had come sooner. Their art and craftsmanship was probably the best I had seen so far. Souvenirs, the Adinkra symbol, and a lot of kente cloth inspired dresses and shirts. So I'm back in Accra, and right now I'm at Independence Square, also called Black Star Square. One interesting thing is that Ghana was actually the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule. This is to commemorate Ghana's independence from British rule in 1957, and I thought it was fitting that it would be my last stop of our trip to Ghana. My flight is tomorrow back to LA. We're gonna go through Amsterdam. So it'll take about 18 hours and we'll leave around 11 p.m. I definitely appreciate Ghana much more than I ever have after this trip. The longer we stayed here, the more it started to feel like home. And I will say that's mostly because of so much family and friends that we've been supported and helped by in our time staying here. It's been really a pleasure to get to see and meet a lot of people and just to have fun with them here. I would love to come back as much and as soon as I can to really explore what else this country has to offer me and my family. I hope you enjoyed getting to see my mother country, and I will see you back in LA.
Any day, anytime. You're a son of Africa, so do not cry. You are the daughter of the land of milk and gold. It is